This video is going to address uh, setting the bezel on a cabochon, and it's just going to be about it. I've noticed that a lot of people have problems setting bezels, especially if they've got a sharp area like you'd have here with this heart cab. The first thing you're going to want to do, you can take your burnishing tool here and just make sure your bezel is standing straight up. I like to lean mine just a little bit out, but you run it around, hold the point against the bottom, and just kind of run it around. Make sure it's straight up all the way around. We'll just continue until we get back to the end. Okay. Now at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lean this out just a little bit. I'm going to make sure I have plenty of room at this point. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some dental floss, and I use this so I can get the cab out. If you had a back that was cut out, you could just do it that way. But with this, we're going to put it in there so that in case our cabochon doesn't fit, we'll be able to pull it out. And this one fits in nice. I've set this a little bit deep because I want this bezel to come over the top of it a little bit. So what I'm going to do, I'll take this out now. I don't need it. And I'm going to work specifically in two areas. Now up here it's kind of tight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this burnishing tool to kind of push it into the V. I want to make sure it's in there. You can also do that with a rocker if you've got enough room, but I set my bell up close so it makes it kind of tight. But what I'm going to do is just the part in the V here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on this point first. You want to work on your tightest edges, whether it be points, whether it be tight curves or something. You work on them first. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rock this right here, and I'm going to fold this up across here. I want to make sure this comes in, and what it's doing is working extra material out the side. Once I get that, I'll come around this side and I'll rock this material around there, and I'll carry this out that side. A lot of people have a problem that they don't do this first, and what happens is they bunch all their material and they make this side work hardened, because it's work hardening the whole time you do it. And then what happens is they can't get a tight fit on their bezel in this area. Now that we've got the bottom done, and we'll just work up just a little bit. The next place we want, that's the tightest, we'll go to the one that's next curve. And on a heart, you want to work on these, and you want to start in the middle, and you want to work this to both sides, because you're putting the extra metal towards both sides. And then first I'm coming in straight, and then I'm coming in at a little bit of an angle. And then when I get finished, I'll be coming pretty much straight down on it. But what I'm doing is I'm trying to work this over into that area. And this is like a lot of the rocker tools you get. Now this here is made out of old file, and it's wider. I kind of like it, but it's doesn't have quite the clearance to get into some of these tight areas. So what I'll do is I'll do this one the same way. I'm going to rock this part of it towards one direction, part of it towards the other direction, and we're making sure that we're holding our cab in there tight the whole time. And the reason we want some to go this way is so that it pushes some up to where this will set tight up in this area. I'm going to use my burnishing tool a little bit to make sure this is tight around. Like I say, you have to kind of work with the areas you have. Okay, we got that pretty good. Now we'll go on down this side, and we'll start at the bottom. Like I say, we'll rock it and get this bottom area in, and then we'll come up at an angle, and we'll start getting some of this other in. We're going to take this curve and make sure that we work this metal out, because if you don't, you can still have the same problem up there. And you might want to put your thumb right up there close so that your tool doesn't slip up. If your stone is soft, you might have a problem that way, to scratch it or damage it. And plus, it makes little tool marks on your bezel itself. We're going to continue. We'll do the same on this other side. Like I say, we're wanting to work it into the middle first. And we'll go ahead and make sure this is rocked all the way up at the bottom, and then we'll come up at an angle. We're wanting this to flow nicely. Now, a lot of cabs have a girdle on them, so it'll come up to it and then it'll lay on over. I just keep changing my angle and coming up a little bit more, because I don't just want this to just bend in. I want it to follow the edge of that stone. Now, once I get it pretty well set, I can take my other tool and I can reach in here by this bell. Now, if your bell wasn't in the way, you could get in there a whole lot easier, but it's all going to depend on your design of how you've got it. And as you notice, I just keep going around. Once you get it all the way laid down against the stone, you're going to come kind of straight down. And if you can hold it and put some pressure, you'll actually flatten these teeth out a little bit. And when you do that, it makes them work harden, and it'll make it lay down there tight, and you won't have any gaps. Now, part of the problem some people have is, now I put my joint up here in the tight curve. It's easy to do. But a lot of them, they want to put it right down here. If you have a solder joint here, the chance is you're going to have extra solder there. It's going to be extra thick, and it's not going to want to lay over and burnish in right. So you want to make sure that you don't put your joint there. Now, with the hearts that I make, the Cabochons, they're nice tight V. Now, if you had ones that have a rounded one, you probably wouldn't want to put your joint there. You'd probably want to put it on one of these shallow curves. And just keep going around until I don't see any gaps. And take the time, use a visor, some type of magnifier that you can actually see what you're doing. Because when you get finished, you want to have a nice even flow around your cab. And you want this to be tight all the way. You don't want to see any daylight, well, you won't actually see daylight, but you don't want to see any shadow spots where you can see that it's not around it close. And we'll just keep going around. We're working mainly on the outside edges, we'll come back and work right in the top V right here in just a minute. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to make sure this is pulled up tight. I'm going to use this burnishing tool because it works good to make sure it's laid in there tight. And we'll go down one last time here with the tool to make sure we've got it good and tight all the way around. And it's as simple as that. But whenever you do it, like I say, take the time to look and see. It looks like it might need just a little bit right there. Like I say, you don't want to see any shadows when you look at it at an angle. You want it to be nice and fit all the way around. And that's it. Simple as that. I hope this helps you. Any problems you're having setting your stones, and keep a watch, maybe subscribe, and for my next videos that come out.